Welcome to your Cochrane right now, of the first one of 2023. My name's Eric Ruddle. This is Lauren Meister. And Lauren, how was your holidays? How was it? Did you just stick around Cochrane pretty much the whole time?
Pretty much, yeah. Left town for like maybe a day or two and shut the alarm clock off. Was sleeping in till, oh my goodness, like 8:30, quarter to 9 some days. So I had to set my alarm for 4 o'clock this morning, which normally I set it for like 3:30, 3:45, but I was like, I can't do that this morning. So I set it for 4. Oh, that stung this morning.
Yeah, I can imagine. Not too much fun.
No.
Well, this is a podcast all about Cochrane, Alberta, the best town in the world. And this is 2022 in review. So we go through, of course, we are also a news site. So we cover all the breaking news, all the big stuff that's happened in Cochrane over the year. And we're going to go through every single month and tell you what was big in 2022. And of course, starting in January of last year was very different than January
Night
right
and
now.
day.
We would not be standing this close together, mostly because we both were just coming off of a COVID bout.
Yes.
Just like a lot of Cochranites. COVID was still the huge story in January here in town.
Well, and we would have been wearing masks as well. And actually, I don't even think we would have been standing in the same room because we were back in the office together at the same time, but we didn't really share a room.
No.
Definitely that's 6 feet apart. That was still a thing for sure. And even when we'd walk from one office space to another, we would put a mask on. Isn't that crazy that was, well, really less than a year ago? Because when did that stop? Like maybe March, April?
Yeah, exactly. Like we were still in the thick of things. And January was that big point where the government announced everyone gets free tests, right? You can go test at home now. And here in Cochrane, I remember urgent care got them. And you had to have like a network of friends being like, hey, heads up, they have them. They're going to be gone in 20 minutes. Go line up. Go be down there. You would go wait outside the door. Somebody in a hazmat suit would come out and be like, here's one. Tell us your name so you can't get another one.
Oh, you had to show your ID.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a whole formal thing, and they'd write down your information. My question to you is, because a lot of people, it was kind of like toilet paper. You'd stockpile all of the COVID tests. How many COVID tests do you have sticking around your house right now?
Right now, I think we still have about 6 boxes. Because, we would... You don't know, right? And my wife is your typical like over tester. So whenever, especially over those next couple of months, my kids be like sniffling, she'd be shoving that thing. So we flew through tests, and man, it's thinking back a year ago, right? Like it was still so pandemic-y. The trucker convoy was huge. That brought in rallies here in town. I believe that was the January period, maybe February or March, eh?
Yeah, well, that lasted for a while. It was every weekend, every Sunday or so. And I mean, we had like little bonfires set up in downtown Cochrane, crowds of people walking up and down Main Street, people holding signs. If you remember, people would often have flags as well on their vehicles and signs. That was definitely very real here in Cochrane.
Oh, yeah, it was huge here, and really that was January in a nutshell. Everyone's still trying to stay healthy and trying to stick away from everyone else. So that was January. Now February, I would say, is actually one of the biggest stories of the year, and that is the Ramada. The Ramada burnt down in February, and you were actually, for Cochrane now, the first one on scene. So like run us through, how did you even get there?
Okay, so actually there was a convoy happening that particular day, and Noel was actually in downtown Cochrane that day covering that, and I was downtown just running errands.
Hanging out. It was a weekend.
Yeah, I was grocery shopping and whatever, and all of a sudden Noel sent me a text. He's like, Ramada on fire. He's like, I'm at the convoy. Can you check this out? Yeah. And I could smell campfire smell. It's funny because I could smell that smell before knowing about the Ramada, and I just thought it was from like the bonfires downtown. Yeah. And anyway, got the text, and my husband was driving, and I said, "Turn the car around. We're going to the Ramada right now." And I was just, like not really thinking that there was going to be a full
kitchen
blowing
fire.
Totally,
right? Like,
you don't expect a full blown hotel being on fire, and that's what it was. There was full flames. It wasn't just smoke. So I know we talked about this before, but it was a full fire. and the reporter in me was like, oh my goodness. So I'm jumping fences and I'm getting in there.
Ripping your jeans.
Oh, yes. Rip the jeans, but it was worth it to grab the photos, the video. Ran into Jim, of course, Candace's husband. He was there on scene as well, as he usually is. He's always out in the community.
Yeah.
And then shortly after I think you were out of town, but you rolled into town.
I did. And then we saw it even before I saw your guys' text. And I was like, I need to do this. And I was with my wife and we just switched seats. I was like, you need to drive. I'm hopping out. And on Highway 22, so we were heading northbound. It's kind of that hill. I fell down that hill. I like ripped open my hand. But I was like, I need to be a reporter. And then like I saw the text chain and like the photos. You guys had already been there like a half an hour before me.
I was like, old news, Eric. Come on. Snooze, you lose.
6 stories up already. But man, just the way the community just kind of shut down for that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, of course, you said we had the huge convoy party going down in downtown. But once the fire was really news, everybody just kind of stopped and watched.
Oh, for sure. I mean, something like that doesn't happen every day, thank goodness. And I mean, man, just the fact that the firefighters were able to get there so quickly and save the buildings beside it. I mean, Tim Hortons is so close.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, they had some smoke, smell and whatnot, but there wasn't any damage. And there's houses
they saved
close
the
by.
water slide. Right?
Totally. The water slide is still there. So, yeah it's just incredible.
And, definitely one of, I'd say, the top 3 biggest things happen in Cochrane. Of course, we also don't have a ton of hotels here in town. We have a ton of hockey sports tournaments going down, and you got to imagine losing 50-plus rooms really hurts.
For sure.
I don't know. Are people tenting right now? Who knows?
Well, the campground's always full.
Exactly, right? Now, that brings us to March, where we learned more about Greystone. So Greystone, of course, going down right down by the Spray Lake Sports Center. And we learned Cochrane is getting a grocery store. That was in March of 2022.
So almost a year ago.
We still do not know which grocery store it is going to be.
What's your guess, though?
I think the popular rumor right now is it's Co-op.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I maybe a superstore. I would rather a superstore. I'd love a Costco. Let's just go all in.
All in. Could you imagine, though? It would have to be the entire community of Greystone, though. Yeah, we don't need houses there. No. We just need a giant Costco because you need a massive parking lot.
But we have like a sister station in Okotoks, and they say their Costco's really annoying because all the Calgary folk come to their Costco thinking it's less busy. So that might not be fun for us, but it would be pretty cool to have it at a Costco. What's your guess?
That would be cool. I'm going to guess it's going to be a co-op.
Yeah.
I like co-op. I grew up in a small town that had a co-op. Co-op's close to my heart. I know a lot of people say co-op's expensive.
Yes.
I also didn't do the grocery shopping when I was a kid, so I'm kind of clueless.
The food just appeared.
Yeah, the food was just on my table, so I don't know. But I don't really see it, so I don't know.
I've shopped once or twice in the one on 12 Mile Coulee.
Okay.
And it was more expensive. So we will see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will see.
Time will tell. Maybe this time next year, we'll know.
Yeah, exactly. We were looking at that story and all the details, and it was like, by spring, they're going to have a pathway system up and a storm pond, and we're going to have... It's still pretty dirt piley down there.
Yeah, I think they've got some like the underground things that have happened,
Probably.
The stuff that you can't see, the services and whatnot, but it still looks like dirt.
And I'd imagine when we're doing this next year, we're going to be like, that popped up so fast.
Totally.
Because they're fast now. Right?
Well, and there's supposed to be a hotel there as well. So grocery store and a hotel.
Okay.
And then houses.
And maybe some other stuff. You never know. We need another pizza place and liquor store.
Totally, we do.
And that brings us to April. And April is the month for me to shine because you allow me to do an April Fool's Day joke. We weren't sure, being a news station and all that stuff, if we should do it. And then I did one in 2021 where I said Disney was coming to Cochrane, and it exploded. So we thought, let's do it again.
It broke our website.
And this year I thought, you know what? Everyone's favorite show is Yellowstone here in town. Let's say it makes sense. They're filming here in Cochrane. I put 10 minutes into the story, 15, very poorly photoshopped Kevin Costner sitting in near the Chicken Lady downtown, put it up there being like, bleh. It exploded yet again. And it was the perfect storm because they were actually filming that other show, the Secret Walter Brothers show.
Yeah.
So we were covered with those huge trucks.
Yes.
So that was
and they said Paramount on them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, oops, I didn't really do any research. So people thought it was actually Yellowstone coming. And I think we disappointed a couple of people.
Oh, I think so. And we, of course, have access to the back end of things.
Yes.
So we see the analytics. And it's hilarious how even, almost a year after the fact, we're still getting all of these clicks. And even going back further to the year before, April of 2021, the Disney World story or Disneyland, that's still always within our top 25 stories every single month.
And we looked at it when Yellowstone season 5 premiered. That story blew up again because everybody's searching for Yellowstone stuff. And it makes sense. They should have came and filmed here.
There's still hope.
There's
still
hope.
All of their spin-offs, like they did 1883 and 1923. I mean, they're probably going to do some other spin-offs.
1963, bring it to town.
100%.
Right.
We've got the perfect historic downtown,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So,
I already showed them what it looked like with my poor Photoshop skills.
Yeah.
Now, May was another huge month here in Cochrane because it changed something that has always been, and that is change the speed limit on the Big Hill for a great reason, because there was a lot of bad stuff happening. What was going down on the Big Hill in May?
Yeah, so a really scary crash, actually. It was a big truck, actually.
Yeah, like a cement truck.
Yeah.
Or I guess a dump truck.
Yeah. I don't exactly know.
Yeah.
Some kind of construction type vehicle coming down the hill. And we don't know for sure, I don't think.
Yeah.
But the speculation is that it potentially lost control of the brakes.
Yeah.
And the driver lost control of the brakes. And anyway, slamming, coming really, really fast down the hill and then slammed into a cement barrier.
Oh, my gosh.
So luckily in this case, no one was really injured.
He sideswiped a vehicle, I believe, but I think they were okay. And so we got a video of it. Mm-hmm. And I remember you and I sitting here watching the video going, do we use this? Mm-hmm. Because, like you said, no one seriously injured, no blood, guts, or anything like that, but it's still extremely scary.
It looked like something that you'd see on a movie because it's like this vehicle coming down the hill and then all of a sudden, poof, smoke and dust and collision.
So of course we threw it up online because why not?
We put a discretion, viewer discretion.
So that happened. Also, one day I was driving home from work. I was like, let's take the long way home. I live up in Sunset, so I head up Center Ave. I'm driving along and I'm like, what are all these police doing? A milk truck had lost its brakes on the Big Hill, speculation again, and went down, and then along 4th Ave they tried to turn, they flipped. A milk truck lost its entire contents just on 4th Ave. Milk everywhere. I will never forget that smell because I probably showed up like half an hour after it happened. Just the street was white. It was disgusting.
I can't believe it would smell that quickly, though, because this would have been fresh milk.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it would have smelled. It's not like it was rotting milk or something.
No, maybe just that amount of milk, like liters and liters of milk touching dirt and rolling. And
Does it make you want to have a big glass of milk?
Oh, yummy. And it's just so crazy because why would that happen in Cochrane?
Yeah.
Right?
And I was looking at the story a little bit earlier this morning, and there's really not much to this story.
Because I didn't know anything. I was just like, click, there's a milk truck upside down.
The photo is just, it's like, the picture is worth 1,000 words. But I still remember when you posted that photo, that story, all of the comments on social media, the jokes, the puns about milk and cats, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, if you're bored today and you can scroll through our Facebook page, Cochranites, they're funny. They're funny when they want to be. And that plus that cement truck, dump truck, and then sadly a construction worker was hit during one of those accidents. They finally went, no more. We are cutting that 80 k an hour hill down to 60, which probably the right call.
For sure.
Right?
I mean, that's pretty fast coming down at 80. So it does make sense. And I don't know if that's going to be a permanent change once all of the construction is done there. I'm not sure if that's going to change back to 80. We don't know. But, man.
Still catches me, though, right? You're going and you're like, oh, right, this is 60, right? Like, why is everyone going so slow? Oh, right. I'm the
What
jerk
catches
here.
me is all the lane changes all of the time. And I'm sure Cochrane drivers can agree with that. And I don't take that way a whole lot. I mean, I live on the other side of town. And then every time you drive there, it's like, oh, okay, hang on. I got to go on this side of the pylons today. I got to go this way.
There's so many pylons and I don't understand what's going on.
This has changed. This has changed. But I mean, we know we just need to get through this and it's going to be good.
Yeah, because then Highway 1A22 will start and we'll have a new problem. So moving into kind of the spring months now, June was a scary one. We started getting press releases from the RCMP of child luring suspects. So I believe the first one came down Glenbow area?
I think so. And of course, that was the one where we were looking for a white paneled van.
Yeah, you're like stereotypical creepy van. That's what we're looking for.
Yes.
And we didn't get a lot of details. We'll be honest, right? Like the police were just like, hey, we've had reports. A kid was almost snagged. They got home. They told their parents here.
Yeah.
And then another one came out in Sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe a third one possibly.
Well, and then there was also the one up in the Willows.
Yes.
And then that was a little bit different because then that one was a kid who was taken by an adult in a Jeep.
Yes, right, from a park. And somebody was like, that didn't seem right.
Exactly. But there was no kid allegedly missing or... So
I just remember that was softball season. So my kids, they're playing. All the parents are there. And most of the parents knew where I worked. There was a lineup of parents asking me questions.
Wow.
Hey, what's going on? What do we need to look out for? And it's like, I don't know. We'd tell you. But eventually we did get a sketch of the suspect. And then it kind of honestly just kind of died off.
For sure. And we did find out months later that
nothing
kind of came of it. So we don't know if these were
kid stories.
Yeah. Or if the alleged suspect moved out of town or we don't really know. No one's been charged. Nothing, as far as we know, has happened here in Cochrane. But I do remember that time as well because my son he's almost 10, but he was 9 in the summer. And he, at the age now where he's roaming the neighborhood with his friends. So you definitely think twice. And same thing. A lot of parents are definitely like, no, I'm not going to let my kid go to the park by themselves now because it's scary.
Oh, yeah. So here's hoping that's the last we ever hear about that here in town. And moving on to happier things, July, Stampede really returned because, of course, like we were talking before, last couple of years, pandemic really affected us here in town. And we are a Stampede community, right? So the pancake breakfast, how many did you hit up?
Oh, probably 5, I would say.
Because we had Connor the intern with us at that time, and we pegged him with reviewing as many of them as he could. So we sent him all over. Peter Guthrie was having one. BGC has a huge one. And it was just so cool to see the community coming together again because that was really, we were just post-pandemic, no masks, being able to get together again. And it was just really cool that we could kick off the real best summer.
Exactly. No, it was a lot of fun. It's fun to see everybody wearing their Western gear. Yeah. And then it's fun seeing or tasting everybody's different pancakes and seeing what they offer with their pancakes. Because some places they'll have whipped cream or they'll have like all the fruit. And some places even offered like freezies with their pancakes as well. I know.
And here at Cochrane now, we've looked into these pancake breakfasts. They are not small jobs. Like this isn't just something you wake up and going, let's have a pancake breakfast.
Totally.
Like, you got to expect thousands of people to come to it. And huge shout out for everyone making July extra awesome. Now moving to August. August was dominated by one animal. And that was bears.
Oh my goodness.
Every 2 days we were getting videos, photos sent to us of there's a bear over here in Riversong, in Glenbow, in pretty much anywhere along the Bow River. We got a video of black bears wandering along.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where actually we were taking photos of giant traps. And you live more in bear country. Did that like affect your life in any way?
A little bit. I had to adjust when I went for walks. So I tried to go for my walks at busier times a day. Because I kind of got to the point where I was like, yeah, I don't really want to go for a walk early in the morning when I know.
Able to outrun somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't want to be the only person on the pathway. I want to know that, there's other people out here at the same time. No, it was concerning. I didn't see any bears myself this season. Yeah. Last season I did. But
last season, didn't your kids like day home have a bear wandering through the backyard area?
Yes. Yeah, like, that for sure.
This time, I think, didn't a bear go near Fireside School or something?
Oh, yes. So that did happen. Yeah. And their school, they had to have indoor recess this year. Yeah. But I don't think my kids ever saw the bear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but it's just, and they're saying this is just going to continue.
I think so. And tragically, the Fireside bear, they had to actually put that bear down because it had fed too much on organics and whatnot in the neighborhood.
Our green bins are out all the time. Mm-hmm. Bird feeders bring them on. Pumpkins, pretty much anything that is food will bring them. And
for sure.
They think it's just a feast, right? And sadly, they're not going to leave. They've taken bears before, driven them 3 hours away. They make their way back.
They just are going to keep coming back.
So it's sad. And honestly, I don't think it's going to stop. It'll probably just get bigger and bigger, especially as Cochrane goes out.
Exactly.
More. Yeah. Right? Towards the mountains and all that stuff. So that was August. September. This isn't necessarily a Cochrane story, but man, did we talk to a lot of people affected by it. The Queen passed away. Mm-hmm. So for us, I'm not the biggest royalist you're ever gonna meet. Even today, we were talking about you and Candace. We're like, I like this person. I was like, oh man, Kate and Will, and you're like, yeah, no.
Well, you were getting Meghan and Kate mixed up, and I was like, come on, no, they're not the same. Come on.
So you and I had to go to the city. We had to drive into the city to go do something. The CCMAs were coming to Calgary.
Yes.
And we had to get media passes and stuff. So when we were driving in, you were like, oh my goodness, they've released The Queen's Not Doing So Hot. All the people are coming in. This doesn't seem good. I'm like, yeah, that sucks. So we finished driving. Boop-a-doop-a-doop.
So empathetic.
Exactly. And we come in, and you go in to the news booth.
Right, because Candace was off that day.
Yeah, you're doing some news. So I'm in here, and I was scrolling Twitter for some reason, and all of a sudden the royal family's like, hey, sorry to say, the Queen has passed away. I was like, oh, that's no good. I better tell Lauren. So I mosey on over. I'm like, hey, just heads up, Queen's dead. Your face just dropped. I probably could have been a little more sensitive.
Probably. I feel like this is that was the biggest story ever, in our lifetime. You know what I mean? Biggest news story. You have to. What death is going to be bigger than that, or what big event is going to be bigger than that in your lifetime? Do you think?
I think there's bigger deaths out there. I bet you Michael Jackson passing away was a bigger death.
Elvis died before you were born.
The Pope even is probably bigger than the Queen passing away. It's not that big of a deal. She was old.
She's queen. Do you remember all of the things? It was a month of Queen stuff, and people standing in line for 2 days to see her casket.
They announced it was kind of a holiday, and then it wasn't a holiday. It was very confusing. Yeah.
But you can appreciate that it affected a lot of people. And we talked to a bunch of different people who were
here in town, right? You love the royals, but talking to people who are actually from the UK and their stories of they had lunch with the Queen,
totally.
Right? That was their friend almost, right? Yeah. And just seeing how much it affected Cochranites, the people coming together, the fascinators,
I'm surprised you know what that is.
Yeah. And are you watching the funeral? Are you did your company give you that day off? Right? I took it off anyway. It was everything everybody was talking about, right? And just going through the life and times of the Queen, even not as a huge fan as I am, right? It's interesting. She lived quite the life.
She did, and she reigned for a very long time, the longest any queen has ever reigned.
And when is the king money coming? And are we renaming the QE2 to the KE2, right? Like, I don't know. KC2 would it be then? KC1?
I don't know.
What would you name it?
Well, is he the first King Charles?
I don't know.
I don't actually know.
Well, come on. What kind of royalist are you?
I don't know. I know quite a few things, but I don't know that. I'd have to look.
Royals. But that was obviously what everyone in Cochrane was talking about.
Totally.
Right?
And it was really interesting talking to people and just how, just knowing that she had been just always this point of stability for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute.
Nope.
It's like losing a grandparent for a lot of people. So,
and it wasn't like a lead up, right? It wasn't like, hey, the Queen's sick. Oh, 2 days later, oh, she's in the hospital. It was the day off.
Well, because we had just seen her with their prime minister less than a week before that. Their prime minister, who was prime minister for like a week.
Yeah. And they're saying, oh, she's looking a little rough, but hey, she's older, right? Like, but that was definitely affecting everyone. And from the Queen's death to the other big event, no hot dogs at Light Up.
That was a big deal on social media here in Cochrane. So everybody was looking forward to a full in-person traditional Cochrane Light Up. But then the organizers were like, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to do it big. But unfortunately, we can't do hot dogs this year. Yeah. And Cochranites did not like that. I
had, even I was going to businesses just in my own time, and they're like, hey, how do you get the hot dogs there? And it's like, why is everybody so upset? I grew up here in town. The hot dogs were always a huge part, but like, if you want a hot dog, you're probably going to get a better hot dog at home
than at Cochrane Light Up.
But the outcry was so strong.
Oh my goodness.
You got to give it to Stephanie. It was her 10th and last year organizing it, and she was like, all right, Cochranites, I hear you. We will bring 12,000 hot dogs in their buns. She said a lot of people do not consider how big buns are. They needed a horse trailer just for the hot dog buns, but they did it.
Crazy.
12,000 hot dogs announced in October were coming to Light Up. No hot chocolate, though.
No hot chocolate.
No.
But it's funny because the outcry for the no hot chocolate was not as great as the outcry for no hot dogs.
Where I think I'd rather the hot chocolate.
I would rather the hot chocolate as well.
But a couple of businesses did come through with us. And that moves us directly into November. Light Up happened.
Light Up was incredible.
It was insane. Like, there's no way. There's so many entrances into downtown Cochrane. And Light Up, if you've never been before, isn't a, like, come down from 4 to 9 and hang out for it. Like, you show up, you can be there for 5 minutes, you can be there for 5 hours. So there's no way of telling how many people were actually down there. But I think they almost ran out of hot dogs. 12,000 hot dogs.
Incredible. Yeah.
And this was the first year, so we did the music down there, but we also set up a booth, and we're like, let's give away glow sticks, and like we're giving away a fire pit from Alberta Millworks and signing people up to win the Jeep.
And we had Country Thunder Platinum passes as well that we were giving away. Like, we had so many things. Our lineup at our booth, it never ended the entire night. It was so busy.
It's so funny because people would be standing in line for a half an hour and they get up and be like, what did I line up for? Like, people were just seeing lineups and joining it. So you and I didn't really get to walk around.
No, I
much.
never walked around the whole night. I just stuck at our booth, which was great. And we got to talk to so many people, and it was a great feeling. But I kind of feel like I would have liked a quick little tour.
Exactly. But it's so cool seeing it. But with it being Stephanie's last year, she, of course, was the mastermind for a decade. What will it look like next year? Will it happen? Because it's an undertaking and a half, right? So you need some passionate people. We will see, because a year without Light Up would be rough. And that brings us to last month, which was December. And going back to February, Ramada burnt down. December, they're rebuilding.
Yeah, very exciting to see some construction activity over there because, as you mentioned earlier, I mean, Spray Lakes every single weekend is so busy.
Gosh.
I don't know where people are actually staying. Like, I know that my son plays hockey 4 times a week over at Spray Lakes. So there are people in this town all of the time playing different sports and swimming and all of the things. So where do they stay? We only have a few hotels here in town.
So they're rebuilding that, obviously. Greystone's going to be putting one up as well. And then the other big thing that happened last month was we broke like almost 35-year-old records for cold here in town. Like, we always have a stretch of cold, but apparently not like that, because it was the coldest December since like 1992 here in town.
So hopefully we're done for cold for this season. I don't know. I mean, we're just at the beginning of January, so we still have a few more months to go. But
even like
we'll see.
We were here. It was surprising not to see water main breaks like on Main Street. Like we know a couple of people who had some explode in their house just because it happens. But hey, we never got a story or anything of crews having to go and dig up Center Ave because it exploded.
Yeah.
So now that we've gone through every single month, what was the biggest story of 2022?
Oh, definitely the Ramada for me.
The Ramada?
Yeah. What about you?
I'm going to say the Big Hill. Like them changing the speed limit, the accidents that were happening, the construction even, just how much that annoyed people. Like, whoa, no one was ever happy because, of course, right, if you've been here for any amount of time, people always complained about the highways into town. They finally go to fix the highways. Well, now I'm mad because your construction is happening.
Yeah.
Right? And the people who live nearby there, they were doing overnight construction. The detours, I think the Big Hill is the biggest part of 2022.
Do you have any predictions for 2023?
I could see us getting more concerts. We had Gord Bamford, which we didn't really talk about. He came in April?
I think it was April.
Yeah, April.
That was a big deal.
We already have George Fox lined up, returning home later this month. And I really think we are going to get a couple of acts that know the population here in town, know the passion of here in town, and they're going to come. What about you?
I like that. I like your thinking. I was thinking more like, we're going to have something more doomy gloomy.
Doomy gloomy.
Something
Great.
doomy gloomy. Because, we don't typically have, we've said this a lot, that we love living here as residents because it's such a safe and happy and bubbly town. As news people, we're very, we don't get a lot of crime, so
it's a little boring to write about Cochrane. Not gonna lie.
Exactly. So not that I wish this, because I really don't wish this. I really don't. But I feel like Cochrane hasn't had like a really sad crime story in a while. I know this sounds really bad, and you're like, what is wrong with you, Lauren?
I would love some concerts. Yeah. I want crime.
I'm not saying I want this, crime, but I predict that something could happen because we haven't had something tragic, very tragic in a long time.
My prediction is another mega franchise will come to Cochrane. I don't know which.
Ooh.
Right? Like, it was such huge news when Walmart came and all that stuff. It's going to be on that level. Possibly Costco, but I don't know where they put it, especially with the one going in like Harmony. Maybe not, but there's going to be a mega franchise who wants in here in Cochrane.
If you could pick any franchise, what would you pick?
Disney World. Bring them on.
Well, obviously. But like a store.
A store? Honestly, the only one that I think would change my lifestyle is like a Costco.
Yeah.
But that would annihilate local businesses. So really, I don't want a Costco. Like that.
You just don't want to have to drive to the city.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Costco.
Yeah, I don't go to the city for anything. Support local. Love local, Lauren.
Yes, I do. Are you kidding me? Anytime I don't have to drive to the city is a good day.
Oh man, and I think we're gonna get more and more to that point of why are you going to Calgary? We have everything here in town, and maybe it's going to be more on the electronic side. Like there isn't anywhere here that you can go and shop for TVs of all the calibers and your electronics and your cords and all that stuff.
Or
right?
appliances.
Yeah.
like if your dishwasher breaks or your fridge
or
whatever.
You pretty much have to go to the city.
You have to, which is unfortunate. Or even like a big, like a lot of people are developing their basement. I mean, we do have hardware stores, but you don't have maybe everything that you need.
Yeah, like your Ronas, your Lowe's, like
or Home Depot or something.
If you just want a big piece of wood, like Home Hardware has it, but like a massive guy. So I really believe somebody more is going to come, and our population's just growing so fast. It's there's a lot of money here, man. So we will see what 2023 has for us. But you can grab this podcast on all your favorite services. And until next time, I'll talk to you again.
Yep.